Okay, so this is the honey hole. Right around here, right around here, and then right here, the stumps of the ones I got earlier. Really easy to notice this big cluster. Look at that. Giant one, giant. It's like 5 big ones right there. So, if you imagine mycelium, like I said, it's like a spider web. From here to here, this is probably the biggest cluster underneath my feet right here. Is a big old, like, it's kind of like the same way brain cells work, a neural network. Sort of like it branches out like an inch below the surface of the ground. So like over there, about 50 feet is where I found those other ones. So there's probably a tendril that goes out that way. I'm pretty sure there's not any that way because you can see all those green, like, bushes. Like, they don't really grow in that kind of stuff. So it either goes that way or more like it this way. I mean, there's green bushes there too, but it's really hard to figure them out. But imagine a spider web running underneath my feet, and it shoots off like that. Probably shoots off like that. Maybe off this way a little bit. So mushrooms can tell where you're walking because underneath my feet, I'm walking, I'm crushing up those filaments, the cells that make up the mycelium. It's a lot like muscle tissue. When you want to build muscle, you gotta tear your old muscle and then rebuild it stronger. You get ripped. So right now the mushroom knows I'm here, or the fungus knows I'm here, walking on it, and its response to that stimulus is to produce fruiting bodies, which is what the mushrooms actually are. It's like the apples on a tree. The fungus underneath the ground is the tree. The mushrooms are just the apples on the tree, if you equate it to plants. So that's kind of how that works. They know you're there, and they want their mushrooms to be eaten. A lot of, even like apples, trees want the apples to be eaten because then the seeds get pooped out, and they got built-in fertilizer with the seed. It has a better chance of growing into another tree and propagating itself. So funguses, you get like turkeys or other kind of birds that eat these mushrooms. They get the spores on their wings, and they fly up into the trees, and they drop those spores in a new place. And that's how fungus propagates. It wants the mushrooms to get eaten, so when it can tell that you're walking around, it'll produce a bunch. Then the next day or so, probably, after a good rain, especially because it also needs fuel and energy to produce. Like right here, I only found maybe like 9 or 10 maybe big mushrooms. Over there I maybe found 30 little ones. So use the same amount of energy to make big mushrooms as that up there used the same amount of energy to make more little mushrooms. Because of the amount of, or probably the soil right here is really good too. What the heck is that? Did I hear that? It went tuk 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 tuk. That's not a sound I know deer make. Might be a Sam Squanch. Okay, this is not a mushroom. There's a deer right over there. Oh, that big ass tree. Maybe we'll catch a glimpse of it. Could be a Sam Squanch, but I'm pretty sure it's a deer. Oh, oh. We found us another spot. I mean, this is really far away from my old spot. This is a small one too. So the big ones that are connected to this, if it's the same as last time, I would predict they would be over there. But I'm not going to leave here just yet. If there's one here, there's always more. Where's Mr. Deert? He's probably in here eating these freaking things. Oh, got a little bitty one right there. I've noticed that if you find the white ones, or anytime you find them near cedar trees, they're usually white. There was a couple of dark ones in that last batch. You may also be asking me, T2, if mushrooms blend in and they camouflage themselves into their environment, why do they want to be eaten? That's a good question. I think that maybe the types of animals that spread them the best are the ones that have the better eyes, like birds. I think turkeys really like them. They have really good eyes. So they're pretty easy to spot if you're looking for them. But dumb animals like deer probably wouldn't spread them as far. They probably spread them in the same area that they're already in. A bird, however, picks them up on their feathers, spores, and they carry them up into... I'm assuming that's why they're always near poplar trees and cedar trees, because that's the kind of trees that the birds that spread them the most, or eat them the most, likes to hang out in. Been meaning to Google like what kind of tree the turkeys roost in. I'm guessing it's going to be poplars and cedar trees. I never see turkeys in cedar trees. That's probably a different kind of bird. Probably the kind of bird that hangs out in cedar trees really notices the white ones. I'm explaining all this because I'm sure my mom's going to watch this. I'm trying to explain to you how evolution works. Like, it looks like it's been designed because you have a stimulus, like you step on the ground, it responds by fruiting up the mushroom bodies. It looks like somebody designed it that way. But in actuality, there's probably a ton of different types of funguses that didn't have the stimulus response, and they have all since died out. And only the ones that had this mechanism that just randomly mutated were the ones that stuck around. Things that work tend to hang out longer than things that don't work. That's kind of the nature of life. Especially things that reproduce, copy themselves. Those things are really good at hanging around. They're really good at doing that. That's why the world today is about 80% dumb jocks. Dumb people have girlfriends more often than nerdy people have girlfriends. Unless the nerdy guy gets rich, like Elon Musk or something. Then it kind of turns it around. But about 80-20, I think. And when everything has a scientific reason for it, and it all kind of makes sense and you understand how everything works. See, a lot of people just hear like, oh, mushrooms grow around poplars and cedars. They don't try to figure out why that happens or wonder why it happens. But I looked into it. And I found out, well, I didn't look into it, I'm just theorizing this stuff about the turkeys. But like, people don't try to understand like how the mushrooms work, how the mycelium grows underneath the ground. It's only when somebody like me comes along and explains it at the same time I'm entertaining you do dumb people learn new things. That's why I make videos. So I entertain dumb people, and I educate them on the side. They don't even realize they're being educated. So that's my contribution to making the world a better place. Where the heck are those three I found? Oh, wait. Thought I saw a big one. No. Trick of the eyes. Okay. I think it was right around in here. So I'm gonna look over more of this direction. This is where I think the big cluster will be. Okay, this looks like the type of ground. Earlier, I've seen a bunch of like grassy kind of plants on the ground. I was like, this doesn't look like a mushroom kind of area because they don't like competing with other green plants. And then I saw like a transition zone between that kind of stuff and more of this kind of stuff. I was like, oh yeah, this looks like an intermediary kind of a transition place. This is where you'll find some. And then, bingo. On that first one, led into those giant clusters. Not seeing any though. There's those three little ones back there. I haven't found anything since. There's some fallen cedars like this. You would expect them to be underneath all this. If the mycelium reaches underneath it, which apparently it does not. I put my bag into my belt. I had me a wizard's staff a minute ago. What did I do with it? It was pretty old and rotten anyway. I need to find me a new one. I gone pretty far over towards the place where I found that deer skull. Look, there's a big bone. The coyotes live in these woods. They hunt the deers. Not only have we got to worry about the coronavirus right now, we got to worry about chronic wasting disease, CWD. It's infected a large population of the deer in North America. And what it does is, it makes you waste away. There's one. There's one. I was getting ready to explain something. I don't mind being interrupted for the shrooms. Okay. I like when I predict things and it turns out to be true. Chronic wasting disease. It makes your muscles atrophy and wastes you away and kills you in about 7 years. That's pretty bad. But for a deer, it doesn't really affect them. Because deer usually don't live to be 7 years old anyway. So what does that mean for somebody like humans? Lives to be 80 to 100 years old. That means if the deer transfers it over to a human, which right now it can't do because we're different species and has to like mutate and cross the blood-brain barrier like mad cow disease did. But if it ever does that, that means we'll all have 7 years to live if we get it. But the deer keep it their whole life because they get killed by coyotes or the cold before the disease kills them. The disease incubates longer than the life period of the deer. So that's pretty bad. So what do? Mass genocide on deer. That's what you gotta do. You gotta kill them all. Now the thing about coyotes, you can't kill coyotes. Because what coyotes will do, they'll do a mating howl, taking a census report on how many coyotes are in the area. They're in her group, whatever you call them. Oh, there's no one. See, I'm just finding them randomly now. They're not really in a specific spot. So, if you kill a coyote, mama coyote does a howl, and it returns back if there's a shortage. There's another one. Then her hormones will kick up, and she'll produce more coyotes the next time she has a litter. So killing coyotes actually in the long term creates more coyotes. Luckily deer don't do that. But you learn something new.